Hi guys, Sportsia News Briefs. Messi given guard of honor on return to PSG training. Lewandowski suspended for 3 games after Barcelona's appeal is dismissed. Van Dijk injury, worse than first feared, for Liverpool. Milan beats Salernitana to reduce gap to leaders Napoli. NFL, Jacksonville, Detroit and Pittsburgh, the NFL's 3 miracles. Cricket, Shakeel lays claim to being one of Pakistan's middle-order mainstays. Now the news in detail. Messi given guard of honor on return to PSG training. Lionel Messi was welcomed back to Paris Saint-Germain training with a guard of honor after inspiring Argentina to World Cup glory last month. The 7-time Ballon d'Or winner was given an extended break by his club after scoring 7 times and assisting 3 more in Qatar. Messi, who announced ahead of the tournament it would be his last World Cup participation, landed a second Golden Ball for his starring role in Argentina's 3rd global triumph. He has played no part in PSG's 2 matches since Qatar 2022, missing the win over Strasbourg and defeat to Lens in Ligue 1, but he was back in Paris on Wednesday. PSG's players and coaching staff formed a tunnel for Messi as he walked out of their training base, before he was handed a small trophy by sporting director Luis Campos. Neymar was among those to greet Messi upon his arrival, but Kylian Mbappé, a beaten finalist at Messi's expense, was absent after being given a breather by Christophe Galtier. Lewandowski suspended for 3 games after Barcelona's appeal is dismissed. When Barcelona travelled to Estadio El Sadar before the World Cup, Robert Lewandowski was shown 2 yellows in the first half, expelling him from the game. While that would ideally result in a 1-game ban, the Pole was suspended for 3 games due to a gesture he made while walking off. He touched his nose and pointed at the referee, almost as if to say the match official was on something. However, Lewandowski later clarified that his actions were directed at Xavi as per one of their older conversations. Barcelona had appealed to the Tribunal Administrativo del Deporte, the Administrative Court of Sports, to get Luis' ban lifted. During that appeal, the Pole became available for the game against Espanyol and played through the 90 despite multiple protests. It seems Barca's appeal has fallen on deaf ears as Mundo Deportivo confirms that the TAD is set to uphold RFEF's decision to ban Lewandowski for 3 games. He will miss the games against Atletico Madrid, Getafe, and Girona. Barcelona presumably have the option to appeal again to get the ban delayed, but that decision will eventually be taken by Joan Laporta and the administration. Van Dijk injury, worse than first feared, for Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk is facing a spell on the sidelines with the Liverpool defender's hamstring injury, worse than first feared. Van Dijk was substituted at halftime during Liverpool's 3-1 defeat at Brentford on Monday evening, with it later revealed that the Dutch international had sustained a hamstring issue. The Times are now reporting that Van Dijk's problem is worse than first anticipated and the central defender is facing an extended period on the sidelines. The news will come as a major blow to Jurgen Klopp as Liverpool battle to keep in touch with the Premier League's top 4 and secure Champions League football. Milan beats Salernitana to reduce gap to leaders Napoli. First half strikes from Rafael Leao and Sandro Tonali in Salerno moved the champions up to 36 points, closing the gap on Napoli who face Inter Milan at the San Siro in the day's late match. Milan are also 5 points ahead of third-placed Juventus ahead of their match at struggling Cremonese. NFL, Jacksonville, Detroit and Pittsburgh, the NFL's 3 miracles. Falling into a 2-6 hole near the midpoint of a season is usually a recipe to look to the future for NFL teams, with only 2 teams ever climbing out of that hole to reach the postseason. Headed into Week 18 of this season, 3 teams that lost 6 of their first 8 games remain in the playoff hunt. Jacksonville can clinch the AFC South with a victory over Tennessee, or it could sneak in as a wild card team with a loss and lots of help. Detroit and Pittsburgh have more complicated paths, with the Lions needing a win and a Seattle loss to clinch the 7th seed in the NFC and the Steelers needing a win plus losses by Miami and New England to clinch the final wildcard spot in the AFC. The addition of an extra playoff team in 2020 and a 17th game in 2021 made climbing out of a hole a bit easier than in the past, but it still is rather remarkable. Before this season, 186 teams in the Super Bowl era started a season 2-6, with only Cincinnati in 1970 and Washington in 2020 making it to the postseason. The Jaguars have gone on quite a roller coaster ride, having lost 5 straight from weeks 4 to 8 and then winning the last 4 games. A victory Saturday night against Tennessee would make Jacksonville the 5th team to get to the playoffs in a season with both a winning and losing streak of at least 5 games. The last team to do it was Kansas City in 2015. The Titans can also join that group win, having won 5 straight early in the season and then losing the last 6 games. The only teams to make the playoffs in a season with a 6-game losing streak are the 2020 Bears, the 2014 Panthers and the 1970 Bengals. Cricket. Shakeel lays claim to being one of Pakistan's middle-order mainstays. The Karachi crowd has maintained the sort of healthy distance from the cricket this season that Marie Antoinette likely reserved for late 18th century Parisians, and it's not like their team has given them much reason to re-evaluate their life choices. Pakistan enjoyed the best day of the series. They scored 253 runs, and lost just 6 wickets. They won't concede the huge lead New Zealand threatened to take when Imam ul-Haq fell early this morning, even if victory seems just as far away as it did 24 hours ago. But there were scraps of bread, not cake, for the smattering that turned up today. When, and it feels like a question of when, not if, Saad Shakeel goes on to become a steady presence in the middle order, very few will be able to truthfully claim they were there when it happened. For watching a Shakeel innings is like attending a winter wedding in Pakistan. You may not want to do it, but when you look back at it, you're glad you ended up going. Unlike that Shan Masood innings, which is a party you can dip into, knowing it'll end long before it stops being fun. For more sports updates, please keep watching our YouTube channel Sportsia or visit our Twitter handle.